My name is Barbara Rausch, and I'm a Global Account Manager with ePost Global. Thank you so much for joining today's Parcel Playbook series on our favorite time of year, peak season. What to expect. Now, it's not my first rodeo, but it might be yours. So I'm going to give you some idea of what to expect during peak season. I think the first thing that we've seen change over the last several years are peak season surcharges. This is something relatively new. I think probably around COVID is when we started seeing it really from almost every carrier, where they're going to be instituting peak season surcharges. This is to help mitigate the additional staffing and logistics costs associated during this time of year. So you might want to make those changes to your website in advance. Start charging those surcharges or plan for those extra surcharges. So you may decide to absorb that as a company, or you may want to update your website, but just be aware that those should be expected in, I think, every peak season going forward. Some of the other challenges and things to expect during peak season are going to be longer transit times. And that's just due to there being a huge amount of volume going through the system. And if you're mailing internationally, that all has to clear customs too. So it's not just the logistics partners, it's the air carriers and all the holiday travel that it happens this time of year. It really does put a stress on the system. So I would expect longer transits than what you're typically seeing throughout the rest of the year. And plan for that. Plan accordingly. There are reasons why carriers provide those holiday cutoff dates. Use them to your advantage. Plan your sales around those cutoffs as well. So I know a lot of us like to focus on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but if you're an international shipper, you might want to back up that sales cycle earlier in the season so you have more time. For example, this year, Cyber Monday is December 2nd. You're already past holiday cutoff dates by December 2nd for some countries. So I do recommend having a plan in place to do those sales pushes earlier in the year for your international shipping, because that can make a big difference. It also helps spread out a lot of that volume, so it's not coming in all at one time. Your domestic and your international sales all kind of hitting at the same time. It could be a big challenge. It could be a big challenge just for inventory management. I know a lot of you plan months in advance for the additional volume that can be coming in this time of year, but there are things that can happen that are just unanticipated, such as political strife in a country that your items might be manufactured in, or weather delays, or hurricanes, you name it. This is a crazy, crazy time of year. So make sure you have a plan in place. Have backups to your inventory, for your inventory. If you're using a 3PL, make sure your 3PL can handle the additional volume coming in. Make sure that you're getting phone numbers and email for all of your customers that you're taking orders from. And this is especially important for international shipping. If you are going to be doing any international shipping, make sure that you're getting the customs information correct, you're providing accurate descriptions, and that you're getting the tax IDs from customers where countries that require them, like Mexico, Brazil, etc. So if those are requirements, make sure you're getting that information from those customers in that order process. Some of the other challenges you should expect, obviously weather delays are going to be expected. Also lost packages, just because of the additional order volume, you're going to see some additional lost items, both domestic and internationally. No carrier is going to be perfect, so just plan for that. Make sure you're staffing accordingly for your customer service, because you will be getting an increase in your customer service inquiries. Having some technology on the back end that can help mitigate some of those calls. So if you have technology that you can employ that will allow your customers to do returns or exchanges or any of that online where they don't even have to reach out to your customer service team, that's a great opportunity. And I would take advantage of that technology if you can. So that's just a few things that I would suggest and to be expected during a peak season. So you're looking at higher surcharges, longer transit times, higher customer service call volumes, inventory challenges, maybe even challenges with your 3PL or your fulfillment, where, if you get all that volume at one time, it's going to take longer for a lot of that to get out. So make sure you're staffing accordingly for that increased order volume. And, of course, weather delays and everything else going on all over the world. So make sure that you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on, not just, in the countries that you ship to, but also where your items are manufactured. So if there's any challenges, that you can plan ahead, find additional suppliers, etc. And that's just not through peak season, but I would say all year round. Make sure that you're keeping tabs on what's going on in the countries where your items might be made, because that could affect your inventory going into peak season. Make sure you just have a plan in place, communicate with your carriers. If you're planning a big sales push, let's say earlier in the month of November for international customers, communicate that to your carriers who will be handling that volume. That can make a difference in staffing for them. They can also pre-alert the final mile delivery partners to ensure that they're prepared for that additional volume coming in. So I hope this has been helpful and informative. Please make sure you join us for the additional Parcel Playbook series that we'll be discussing about peak season. There's more to come, and make sure you follow ePost Global to keep up to date on all the content that we're providing. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.